And surely we created man of sounding clay, of black mud fashioned into shape. And the jinn, we created before of intensely hot fire. And when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to create a mortal of sound clay, of black mud fashioned into shape. So when I have made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, fall down making obeisance to him. So the angels made obeisance, all of them together. But Iblis did it not. He refused to be with those who made obeisance. He said, O Iblis, what is the reason that thou art not with those who make obeisance? He said, I am not going to make obeisance to a mortal, whom thou hast created of sounding clay, of black mud fashioned into shape. Quran. The Anointed is constantly pushing the Quran in our face. The Messenger said, he would not give 2 cents for the scholarship of the Imams of Sunni Islam. The Anointed spews out a deluge of Quranic ignorance on a weekly basis, not to mention biblical ignorance. Take the Quranic verse, and surely, we created man of sounding clay, of black mud fashioned into shape. Now, the Anointed is interpreting this verse as Adam being black, as he was made of black mud. But they, in their ignorance, neglect, intentionally or otherwise, to account for other verses such as, and certainly we create man of an extract of clay. Or, then we make him a small life germ in a firm resting place. Or, then we make the life germ a clot, then we make the clot a lump of flesh, then we make, in, the lump of flesh bones, then we clothe the bones with flesh, then we cause it to grow into another creation. So blessed be Allah, the best of creators. Or the following, and when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to place a ruler in the earth. First, Adam was not the black mud fashioned into shape, he was made from the original people who are the black mud already fashioned into shape. Then Adam was made from the life germ or sperm of the original people, the black mud fashioned into shape. Secondly, an extract of something, extract, remove or take out, especially by effort or force, is not the thing, it is something that was removed from a thing. So Adam is not the clay, but an extract, something taken from the clay. Taken from the sounding clay, original people, a life germ, sperm, taken from the original man. Thirdly, nowhere in the Quran does it say that Allah made Adam. The Quran uses the term thy Lord, Yaqub. It is Adam, Yaqub's grafted devil, who is making mischief and shedding blood. If you go with the Anointed misinterpretation, which is contrary to the lessons, then you will think that, as the Sunnis believe, we are all from Adam. The above interpretation I have presented is correct and totally consistent with the lessons and the Messenger's teachings. If the Anointed can't even get that simple verse right, then what else is he misleading, deceiving about? Daniel. Then, there is Daniel, a coded, sealed book. A book. The object of conjecture for over 4,000 years. You have Ishmael attempted to explain it last Sunday. They are always complaining about blacks dismissing black views, black scholarship in favor of the white views, and scholarship. Yet, they are guilty of just about everything they condemn blacks, and black preachers for. If you listen to him, he is parroting the misinterpretations of the devils. If you go and Google the devil's interpretation of Daniel, you will hear and see exactly what Ishmael was spewing out. He didn't get that interpretation from the messenger. Ishmael was trying to explain the statue of Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Specifically the stone cut of the mountain without hands. He is as much in error as they are. If you examine the statue, it is anatomically correct in every way except that it has no hands. Ishmael claims that a stone was cut out of a mountain without hands, then he, as the confused devils do, added without human hands, in an attempt to underscore their misunderstanding, implying that the stone was cut out of some mountain by God. No. The stone is cut out of the head of gold. The statue is the mountain. Nebuchadnezzar was told that his kingdom would be torn down, and he would live a beast life, but at the end of days, he would rise up, and his kingdom would be returned, 7 times better than it was before. We are told that the stone would crush the statue on its feet, which represents the last kingdom, and grow to cover the entire earth. This also corresponds to the tree, that had covered the entire earth, that was cut down to a stump, bound by iron and brass, devils and Jews. A tree that will break its bounds, and again grow to cover the entire earth. The feet, toes, as is mentioned further in this presentation, are 10. The 8 small toes are the leopard, yellow with brown spots, the Oriental and Asian nations. Specifically China, and India. The 4 heads are authoritarian, which is China. The 4 wings are democratic, which is India. The 2 large toes are the eagle wings, the eagle who is riding on the back of the lion, the original nations. The 2 wings are America and Britain. 8 toes plus 2 toes are 10 toes. The last kingdom of the Yaqub dispensation. If the anointed can't get that relatively simple story right, why should anyone think he knows what he is talking about? INJIL. What about the INJIL? Let's just take the very first chapter that everyone, and I mean everyone, fails with. The identity of the character there. Everyone says it's Jesus or the Son of Man. Really? Really? Do they not know what the word like means? Example, and I turned upon to be looking at the voice which was speaking with me, and having turned upon I saw 7 lampstands golden, and in midst of the lampstands like Son of Man, having been clothed reaching the foot and having been girded about toward the breasts girdle golden, the butt head of him and the hairs white as wool white, as snow, and the eyes of him as flame of fire. Like means not. If you are like something, you are not it. That is not the Son of Man, it's someone, or something like him. In fact it is an incarnation of Yaqub, the first Lord of the churches, the Caucasians and the last, or so he says. It is the present-day incarnation of Yaqub, a well-known figure who will soon be revealed. Again, if the anointed can't get this obvious understanding of such an simple verse, how can he be trusted to reveal the more complex verses in the INJIL? The mystery God. We are told that God is a man. Cool. Absolutely. But before the words can escape their lips, they say that God is in every woman's womb, making babies. What? Are they saying that Farad is in every pregnant woman on the planet wombs making babies? If it ain't Farad, then, who is this mystery God, in every pregnant woman's womb? So, either God is not a man, or there is a spook God, or God's in every pregnant woman's womb. If Allah is going to destroy the devil, why not just stop making them in the womb? Then, he tells that the mother and father has nothing to do with the creation of their child. It is all the mystery God's doing. Well, what about crack babies? What about retarded, or deformed babies? Did the mystery God error, go to sleep? Stupid. Stupid beyond belief. 1400-year-old Sunni ignorance. It's the mystery God that wakes us in the morning, who determines our lifespan, etc. Then why build a mother plane, a wheel? Just don't wake up the devils. I know the demons will respond to everything the anointed says, no matter how ignorant. Question is, why are the, if any, true believers in the messenger wasting a split second with him? Prove it. What about cloning? They can clone. Cloning is an artificial process, so do they ask an artificial God to perform the process? They have microscopes. Ever heard of test tube babies? They can view and record the process from start to completion. Ain't seen no mystery God yet. When Dr. Yaqub decided to make his devil, he didn't ask anyone's permission. He didn't request the permission of any mystery God. He was a scientist. He decided what he wanted to do and did it. So did Dr. Shahbaz. So did Farad's father. Farad didn't get or ask anyone's permission to come here. He decided and came by himself. They all studied mathematics, and based on their understanding and mastery of mathematics, they acted on what they intended to bring to be. When are you, maker-owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, going to step into the light of truth, mathematics, and cast down the liars and deceivers? Prophecy is the written will of Allah, the original nation. The B, to become the is. Prayer bombs. God is power and force, which are mathematics. Allah forming babies in the womb is just the atom of life, DNA, which is chemistry. Chemistry is mathematic. It's the DNA from the first God that creates children in the womb. DNA from the male, the sperm, which uses the DNA from the female, to self-create itself. There is no one in the womb with the child, just as the first God was alone, self-creating himself in total triple darkness. There is mathematics, nothing else. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. The devils are ruling the planet with mathematics. They don't have faith bombs, prayer missiles, hex guns, wish jets. No, they have technology based on mathematics, not the technology of prayer. We are told that Yaqub would prevail until the original nation could produce a scientist wiser than Yaqub. Farad came with mathematics. He didn't send a spirit to meet with Elijah. He didn't build a faith wheel, with prayer missiles. Yet we are letting the deceiver, the son of perdition, drag us back 1,400 years into ignorance and superstition. That's what the devils want, you working on your faith bombs and prayer missiles, listening to and following a mystic.
The book of Daniel is a coded book, a sealed book. Though both the INJIL and Daniel are sealed and 100% allegorical, Daniel is built on subtleties more than geometrical mathematics as the INJIL is. The INJIL depends on subtleties also, but nowhere near the extent that you find in Daniel. The two books complement each other. In chapter 13, the bridge between the two books is established. Here I explain the connection.
Daniel's 13th chapter. Notice that the book of Daniel has only 12 chapters. Yet it does have a 13th chapter, which is in the INJIL, Revelations. Chapter 13 of the INJIL is the 13th chapter of Daniel. The symbolism of Daniel is continued in chapter 13 of the INJIL, and the wild beast which I saw was like to leopard, and the feet of it as of bear, and the mouth of it as mouth of lion. And gave to it the dragon the power of it and the throne of it and authority great. And was given to it mouth speaking great and blasphemies, and was given to it authority to do months 42. And it opened up the mouth of it into blasphemies toward the God, to blaspheme the name of him and the tent of him, the in the heaven tenting. And was given to it to make war with the saints and to conquer them, and was given to it authority upon every tribe and people and tongue and nation. This is in part to underscore the nature of the image of gold that Nebuchadnezzar set up. An image of gold, meaning gold-like, or brass/bronze. Just as the image of the beast, meaning like the beast, or a clone of the beast. Also, the connection to the mouth who would make war with the saints, nation of Islam, and overcome them for 42 years. How does a mouth make war? With lies, falsehood, deception. Aaron was selected because of his mouth. That was the only attribute he was noted for.
There is a statue of gold, silver, brass, iron, and then iron and clay. The statue is anatomically correct except that it has no hands. The statue is in fact the mountain that the stone was cut out of without hands. The mountain/statue without hands. It is significant that the metals, gold, silver, brass, and iron are chosen and stated in that particular order. The gold represents the original nation. That is clear when you compare the gold to the tree that both it and the gold represents. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, a kingdom that covered the entire earth. Do you know of any nation that ever covered/ruled the entire earth? The gold represents the original nation. The silver represents the African nation. The brass, which is fool's gold, is the Jews who are masquerading as the gold, fooling, deceiving the ignorant. The iron is a fool's silver. The Caucasians who are claiming the great African empires such as Carthage, Egypt, Ethiopia, and even Persia. The statue establishes the symbolic significance of gold, silver, brass/bronze, and iron for the so-called Old as well as the New Testaments. The toes are made up of iron and clay. 2 large toes of iron, 8 small toes of clay, which represents the last kingdom on earth, which is ground to dust by a stone of gold from the head of the statue/mountain without hands. Here comes a major subtlety. There was another creature that differed from the other beast. That beast is the bear. It is different from the leopard and lion, both feline while the bear is not. The fourth beast is a composite beast of all the previous beasts, with the bear as its head. More subtleties. Among the 10 horns of the composite beast, which are the 8 plus 2 toes of the statue and the 4 wings and 4 heads of the leopard plus 2 wings of the eagle, came up a little horn, different from the other 10. This horn is the bear, who has 3 ribs, which are the 3 horns that the little horn plucks up by the roots. What are the 3 horns? We move further into the story and find a ram with 2 horns about to be attacked by a goat with 1 horn. Who is the ram? Who is the goat? The ram's 2 horns are America and Britain. The ram itself is false Israel. The leopard is the goat, whose horn later breaks up into 8 parts. The horn breaks into 4 horns towards the 4 winds or wings for a total of 8. I warned you that Daniel is very subtle. So the goat is the leopard, which is yellow with brown spots. China and India, who is furious with the ram and charges the ram, traveling at tremendous speed with his feet not touching the ground, meaning it travels over the Pacific Ocean. It slams into the ram with such kinetic force that it knocks the ram down, breaks, and stumps its 2 horns, America/Britain, into the ground. The 2 horns of the ram and the 1 horn of the goat are the 3 horns that the little horn, the bear, plucks up by the roots. They are also the ribs in the mouth of the bear. Who is the bear? We must go back to the statue. The lion is the original people, the gold, who lost kingdom, but would have the kingdom restored to them. The brass is false Israel. the ram that had two horns. The two iron legs are Russia and Europe, the remnant of the now defunct Roman Empire. The 8 toes are the leopard with 4 wings, democratic India, and 4 heads, authoritarian China, yellow with brown spots. The 2 iron toes are America and Britain, the 2 horns on the ram. So what is left? Africa. The bear is Africa. I've never pushed very hard about the bear, as it is yet future, and after the war with Gog and Magog. But both Daniel and the INJIL addresses the bear in great detail. He is all over the INJIL, yet unrecognized. He is the character in chapter 1, the, quote, one like the Son of Man, end quote, who everyone keeps miscalling Jesus. He is the rider on the white horse in the first seal, the one who goes forth conquering and to conquer. It is Obama, an African, as the bear is an African. He would make 2 major conquests. The first as President of America, the second will be King/Emperor, whatever, of an African confederation, which is about to be made manifest. Obama will be the head of this federation, who will at first ally with the GOAT, China/India, in breaking and destroying the ram's horns, America and Britain. Then Obama, with a united non-Islamic black Africa at his back, will turn on China and India and defeat them. Obama is the mystery character in chapter 17 of the INJIL. The, quote, he who was, but is not, the 8th, but of the 7th, end quote, which I will discuss in detail when I address chapter 17. Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, shortly before his departure in 1975, stated that the last president of America would be a black man. I, who was very young at the time and had very limited knowledge of scripture, went with that. Over the years since his departure, I told everyone, including my family, what the messenger had said. When Obama came on the scene, it was dramatic to those who I had passed the messenger's prophecy to. At that time, I was fully versed on the INJIL, had broken its seals, but I found nothing in the INJIL that supported what the messenger had said. The INJIL does predict a black, quote, African, end quote, becoming president, but nothing that I could see as being the last. Now, Daniel does imply that the last president would be a black African, as Belshazzar is a black African, the last ruler of Babylon before it is overthrown by Darius/Farad. The weight of the messenger's statement was enough to convince me to go with my understanding of the Belshazzar story. The messenger never broke the seals of the INJIL, nor Daniel, as Farad didn't either. If either did, present the proof. Present one deciphered chapter. Anyway, the bear/scarlet beast in both books have it joined with China and India when they invade and conquer America. Now the bear not only destroys America, but later China and India. So when it is joined with China and India, when they conquer America, would that make Obama the last ruler of America? He would definitely be one of the conquerors. Perhaps that's what the messenger meant. And I jumped the gun a bit. A tree was cut down that had covered the entire earth. Is there any nation that they have taught us about that actually ruled the entire earth? Of course not. But there it is, revealed in the book of Daniel. So what to make of it? If you understand, then you know that the tree represents the gold, the original nation, who has been cut down to a stump and imprisoned in America. Notice that the tree stump is banded by a band of brass and iron. For all you Jew lovers and confused about who the Jews are, trying to distinguish between the good Jews and the satanic Jews, review that story very carefully. Remember, the brass represents the Jews, pretending to be the gold, and the iron represents the Caucasians. So the tree is imprisoned and bound by the Caucasians and the Jews. The tree banded by a band of iron and brass. Both are oppressing the original people. Both were involved and guilty of the so-called slave trade. Perhaps the Jews more so, as they were, among other things, the money men. The lion, the original nation, is the gold. The original nation is cast as gold/lion/tree. As gold, the gold stone that is cut out of the mountain/statue without hands, that crushes all the nations. In addition, the original people had its identity stolen by the brass, Jews. As a tree, the original nation is bound or imprisoned by the brass and iron, the Jews and Caucasians. As a lion, the original nation is oppressed and exploited by America and Britain, who are the two wings on the lion's back and made to live like and treated like a beast. As beast, the Son of Man is made to live among them in the hopes he would be devoured by them, but they just sit dumbfounded by the Son of Man and did him no physical harm. The Son of Man/Daniel lifts them up, snatches off from them their oppressors, and restores their humanity/Islam, their original nature, to them. That's why he's called the Ancient of Days, because he is old school, Old Testament, a restorer of the old, ancient/original ways. The mouth, the little horn. The bear had a, quote, mouth, end quote, that made war with the NOI/saints and beat/overcame them. Now we see why the connection between Daniel and the angel is made in chapter 18. You can identify the mouth in Daniel, but it is subtle, not easy. But in the angel, that is, if the truth is of interest to you, the, quote, mouth, end quote, is easily identified. In the angel, the position under a Lord, which is the center or seventh of each of the creatures, can be a horse on which the Lord rides, or a mouth for his voice. So we see that Farrakhan is the mouth of the little horn of Obama, who is above the seed of the women, who lifts himself up as a God, speaking strange things against the Most High, the Lamb, the Son of Man, the Son. You must understand the angel key to understand the angel language, to understand the angel.
I'm a young God.
In the angel, the position under a Lord, which is the center or seventh of each of the creatures, can be a horse on which the Lord rides, or a mouth for its voice. So we see that Farrakhan is the mouth of the little horn of Obama, who is above all the seed of the women, who lifts himself up as a God, speaking strange things against the Most High, the Lamb, the Son of Man, the Son.
Going to use to bring about universal change. And that is why Barack has captured the youth. And he has involved young people in a political process that they didn't care anything about. That's a sign. When the Messiah speaks, the youth will hear.
All those dwelling in the earth, meaning the blacks who live in America, who are demons, their names are not in the Lamb's Book of Life, will be mesmerized, seduced by Obama, the beast. Seems like Mr. Farrakhan is one of them.